Welcome, everybody, to the May 6th Unionville Town Board meeting. Open with the pledge to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I know the 15th minutes were sent out earlier, or actually this afternoon, but we had the minutes from 4/1. Did we approve those yet?
You already
We did.
that last.
All right, I don't know if anybody had a chance to read the minutes for 4/15. We could put that on next meeting if you like. Want to go ahead and do that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put them on the next meeting then. I want to make a modification to the executive session rather than discussing a pending contract. I want to have a discussion on personnel. I guess a motion to make that amendment.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. I sent in 2 grant applications since our last meeting to the county. One was pertaining to improve veterans for veteran fairs. What I'd applied for was to get compensation for the bucket truck to put the banners up that the hometown hero banners that we're initiating. And then the other one is a grant for infrastructure from the county. And I applied to get automatic door openers here at Town Hall to help with the elderly and handicapped, for better access for them. We'll see how that goes. I'll keep you posted on that. Also, last month, we had the 284 highway agreement. Everyone has signed it. We'll have a resolution ready then for our next meeting to go ahead and formally approve that. But the highway superintendent can go ahead and start making his plans around that. That's all I have. Councilman Redinger?
Just a general report for people to be aware of. So I've been following some proposed changes in the New York Seeker Act, so the State Environment Quality Review Act. And so this has been put out by the governor, and it's presently held up in both chambers. And this would actually, if it goes through, have a considerable impact on local land use development. So I don't have feelings for or against it, but it's basically designed to streamline some development processes, mostly for affordable homes, and also trimming some of the time periods that it would normally take for the Environmental Quality Review Act to go through. So at present, there seems to be a bit of an argument between the environmental groups and the housing affordability groups, and it's going back and forth through both chambers. But either way, it probably would have some pretty significant impacts when it comes to local land use policy if the changes go through. So.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Harrington?
Just been staying on top of local issues where improvements have to be made. And I was, when I came in, there's a pothole where we come off Duncan, but it was full of water. So I couldn't tell exactly how deep it was, but it probably should be addressed by our highway department.
Right. I'll let them know.
Thank you.
I know they're short a couple guys right now with injuries. But I'll get in touch with them.
My wife brought that to my attention. She's got better eyesight than I do, and better hindsight also.
Councilman Derlin?
Not much to report other than just getting ready for the agenda.
Okay, thank you. Councilman McGivney?
I've been working on the Hometown Heroes banner project with resident Mike Mayer. Deadline for the first run of banners is this Friday, May 8th. If you know somebody that is a veteran, you can contact Andrea or town clerk, and she can get you the application for the hometown banner, hometown hero banners here in town. And that's all I got for this week. Thank you.
Okay, just wanted to add to what he said, that deadline is in order to have the banners arrive before July 4th and have us to have them up, for the July 4th celebration, but they are available beyond that time. They just wouldn't be here to get up for July.
Yeah, we will have additional runs after the first run.
Right. Okay, town clerk.
Thank you. So I've also been working on the Hometown Hero project. We've collected about 10 to date, many from the fire department and also from residents in town as well. We had our shredding day today, our document shredding day. It was a really huge success, and just want to thank Legal Shred for being really easy to work with, so that we can let all of the community know, and they were able to come to destroy all the documents that they needed. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Recreation.
Thank you. It's been a while since I've been here, but I wanted to say at the top, our egg hunt event at the beginning of last month was a great success once again. Thank you to all of the help from the town board, the staff, volunteers who helped stuff all the eggs, the families and friends who helped to make this annual event possible. We look forward to hosting it again next year.
And the Easter Bunny.
Yes, and the Easter Bunny. Thank you to the Easter Bunny. There was a change in the date for the annual Arlington Jazz Music in the Park event. This event is now scheduled for Friday, June 5th. Families and friends can enjoy an evening of jazz from 3 award-winning ensembles of the Arlington High School. The music performance will begin at 6 at the bandshell in Timor Park. Please feel free to bring chairs or blankets to sit on during the event. The Flavor Bandit food truck will be available to purchase food at the event starting at 5:30. Thank you again to the Arlington Band Department. We are excited to have them back once again. There are a few seats left for our session 1 of our traditional camp program. That's open for registration. If you would like to be put on the wait list for any of our sold out programs, please call the park office. At the end of next month, the town will host the annual community night event at Town Hall. This will be on Friday, June 26th, starting at 6 o'clock with a fireworks show to end the night at about 9:15, whenever it gets dark enough for that to happen. Further details on that will be posted on our social media pages and website within the coming weeks. That's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Redinger, would you mind reading the parks report?
The seasonal bathrooms at Timor Park and Godfrey Park are open for the season. We have some complications with both our large pool and the kiddie pool, which had set us back on getting them cleaned up. The large pool should be fixed this week. We're currently trying to find a replacement motor for the kiddie pool as it's burned out. Our older, larger Toro mower has been having electrical issues that we've been trying to diagnose. If we're unable to fix it, it will be towed to a mechanic to get looked at. The first horse show of the year was last weekend. Preparations went smoothly on our end and the event seemed to go well. Portions of the fence around the Teresa Court drainage area have rotten and we'll be replacing them as soon as we can. We cut up and removed multiple downed trees that were in the trails at Godfrey Park behind the baseball field. We started cutting back the brush along the sides of the trails. In Parks report.
Thank you. Okay. Equestrian Center.
Good evening. I'm Loretta Ryan, the Equestrian Center Director. As you just heard on the rec report, we had our spring horse show this past Sunday. And even though it felt more like a winter show than a spring show, we did have record attendance for our first spring show. How the attendance usually is, it's the first show is kind of smaller compared to the summer and the spring show. So excited that the first show we had a record attendance compared to past years. So I'm assuming June and September will definitely ramp up and be even bigger and better than the spring show. So our next scheduled shows are Sunday, June 28th and Sunday, September 27th. I think what really drives people to our equestrian center is one, it's certainly a beautiful facility. It's a great family friendly atmosphere. If anybody comes there, you see people picnicking, enjoying the food. It's really kind of like a gathering for all different kinds of people to be. It's affordable for our competitors. We also offer some unique awards to our show competitors as well, which also differentiates us from other horse shows that are in the area. All of our young show riders have the opportunity to earn the Linda Cook Rising Star Award. That rider earns $500 at the end of the year at our celebration. And we have had 2 winners so far. 2024 was Caitlin Bolander. And for 2025, it was Maya Jennings. We also had the Vetter Award in memory of Charlie Vetter, a great friend and horse show and horse pull supporter. Kay Saglabeni donated $225 credit for the horse show season. So Aria Quattrochi was the lucky rider that received that credit towards this year's horse shows. And now we've also added this year Albrecht old timers. Age is just a number, especially in the saddle. So to be eligible, combined rider and horse age must at least be 80 years of age. So Jamie Manning is donating a year-end award of $500 and a perpetual trophy for the grand champion. Pleasant Ridge Farm in Poughkeepsie is sponsoring reserve champion. So we had 6 entrants in the class this past Sunday, with Lisa Ritter winning the class. And it was so nice to see Betty and Erica Albrecht handing out the ribbons to the horse show competitors in that class. So it was definitely emotional to see Betty out there for this class. I also want to thank the park crew for having the equestrian center looking amazing. Vinny and Austin were helping out on Saturday. We were back at the shed getting more poles and stuff for the jumps. Andrea, Kay, and Sarah for all their help leading up to the shows and after the shows, and even working the shows as both Kay and Andrea go around, getting their steps in for the 50-50. And then there was George and Jack, our town constables, assisting with the parking in the morning. Believe it or not, horse show people can be a little cranky in the mornings, but thankfully Jack and George had them all under control as we try to keep the horse trailer parking up at the top and the cars at the bottom. So far, I think they've got a routine now and it's working out great. This year will be our 31st anniversary of our annual draft horse competition. We can thank Rich and Betty Albrecht, who started this long-standing tradition. The event this year will be held on Saturday, June 13th. We'll start with the lightweight competition at 11. Last year, Mother Nature didn't cooperate, but we certainly had a great turnout. We had 10 teams in the lightweight class, 7 teams signed up for the heavyweight class before we got rained out. The annual competition is really only possible through the generosity of individuals and businesses supporting the prize money. And we had a record last year of 27 sponsors. And thanks to our past sponsors, and which are local people and businesses who are also sponsoring this year. So far, we have the following confirmed sponsors: Whispering Pine Landscape Supply, Friends of Ryan Crest Farm, Julia Carnaccio Law, Ed Cook Excavating, Linda Stager, Bulldog Concrete, Jamie Manning, Ryan Crest Farm, Benny's Lawn and Tree Care, and Ryan Sand and Gravel. I have more businesses and individuals that have committed, so stay tuned for the final list of sponsors and please support them whenever possible. Of course, if anyone is interested in becoming a horse show or horse pull sponsor, please let me know. Also, Andrea has access to our sponsor form as well. I would say another main reason to come to our events is the Unionville Fire Department sells all the food and drinks. They're off to a great start this past Sunday. They sold out of all their hamburgers and had to run out and get more and more rolls. So hopefully, even if you don't have a horse, come out and support the fire department and get some food. So I look forward to seeing you all at the upcoming Equestrian Center events. I always take volunteers. If anybody's interested, you could announce ribbon running, move jumps. No experience necessary. I'm sure Kay and Andrew would love help with the 50-50. So unless there's any questions, I want to wish all the moms and grandmothers and aunts a happy Mother's Day weekend.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public comment on agenda items, anyone? Okay. New business. I sent you all information about upgrading the highway trucks, radio systems. Ed had told me they were having issues with areas that they can't communicate from. I'd like to have Councilman McGivney here give you some additional information that he sent me. Something we can try before having to go forward with the radios.
Sure. I had a conversation with Steve last week about the radios for highway. I would like to look at or have somebody look at the equipment that's currently on the tower on Clove Mountain. Could be something as simple as perhaps an antenna or a jumper cable that might be bad. Could be a cheaper route for now, but we won't know until we get somebody in there to inspect it to see exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I think that's well worth looking into because it could be less than $1,000 to
Yeah, that's
Um,
prudent.
yeah,
Yeah.
to make corrections to the antenna, if that's what the issue is versus the radio system itself. Sure.
Yeah, and right now we don't know. We're kind of guessing.
Right.
So
I'll make phone calls to that effect. Okay, we sent you all a lease agreement for renewal of 11 Time More. Does anyone have any questions on that? Okay. Councilman Derlin, would you like to read number 40, please?
Sure. Town of Unionville Town Board Resolution number 40 of 2026. Resolution authorizing a lease for 11 Time Warner Park Road, subject to permissive referendum. Whereas the town of Unionville owns a house located at 11 Time Warner Park Road in the town of Unionville, which is not currently needed for public use. And whereas there is a lease agreement for the rental of 11 Time Warner Park Road, which expired on April 30th, 2026, and the tenants desire to renew their lease agreement with the town of Unionville for an additional 1-year term commencing May 1st, 2026 and ending April 30th, 2027. Whereas the town board of the town of Unionville has reviewed the proposed lease agreement and has determined that the terms and conditions stated within are reasonable and that it would be in the best interest of the town of Unionville to enter into the lease agreement. And whereas the granting of a lease agreement is subject to a permissive referendum in accordance with Article 7 of the town law of the state of New York. And whereas the town board of the town of Unionville has determined that the proposed action is a type 2 action pursuant to 6 NYCRR 617.5 C26. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. The recitations above set forth are incorporated in this resolution as if fully set forth and adopted herein. The town board of the town of Unionville has determined that the house located at 11 Time Warner Park Road is not currently needed for public use. The town board of the town of Unionville hereby agrees to lease the premises known as 11 Time Warner Park Road, LaGrangeville, New York, 12540, in accordance with the terms and conditions contained in the proposed residential lease agreement and wood stove pellet stove installation addendum attached hereto, which are fair and reasonable and in the best interests of the town. The town board of the town of Unionville hereby authorizes the town supervisor to execute the lease agreement and addendum as well as any other related document on behalf of the town in substantially the same form as attached hereto. This resolution is adopted subject to permissive referendum, and the town clerk shall give notice of adoption of resolution by publishing a copy of this resolution together with the notice of adoption thereof in the official newspaper of the town. And in addition, the town clerk shall post or cause to be posted on the bulletin board maintained by the town clerk at town hall a copy of such resolution and the notice of adoption thereof, with the publication and posting to be done within 10 days of the date hereof.
Second on that?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Harrington. Councilman Rettinger.
Aye.
Supervisor Frazier.
Aye.
Councilman McGivney.
Aye.
Councilman Derland.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. We have discussed previously replacing the mid-size truck at Highway Department. The one that's replacing has some rust issues. And I submitted a what they call mini bid request with specifications provided to me by Highway Department to the New York State Office of Governmental Services. They are the ones that secure bids for equipment. We got 3 bids back that I sent to you all. And the low bid was Robert Green in Monticello, I believe he's in at 129 and change. And we have a resolution here to accept his bid on that. Does anyone have any questions on that? Oh, the other thing to mention is that we do have funds available for this in our equipment reserve fund. Anybody else have any questions?
The larger trucks in our fleet, they're in decent shape right now.
Well, he gave us a list of trucks that we're gonna surplus. And we purchased those 2 used trucks to replace the 2 worst trucks in that in the larger size. And he feels that right now the larger trucks are sufficient to carry on. There's a big problem with the replacement of the big trucks. They're up close to $350,000 now and a 2-year wait, which is why
Yeah, they got.
we looked at the used route. And that may be something we continue to do. Just to spend that kind of money and put it into an environment that's just gonna tear it up. It's, you know.
And the junk.
Yeah, all right, yeah, and the new ones don't run as well as the old ones
Yeah,
because of all the so-called technology in it.
yeah.
I mean, we're lucky if we get 8 or 10 years out of a new truck.
Right,
And it's destroyed.
right, and if you figure that's $30,000 or more a year.
Yeah.
And you know, we're buying a used truck that we can get almost the same length of time out of for that amount of money. So,
As long as we can get parts for it,
right, yeah.
it's the key.
So
What's
we'll
the
keep an
delivery?
eye on that but right now the immediate need is for the mid-size truck. And
What's the delivery date on this? Do we know?
they expected to have it here before the snow season.
Okay.
Yeah. The dealer that won it told me that he went ahead and ordered the chassis
Okay.
regardless of whether or not he got the bid. So they expect to have everything in place before the winter season.
Okay. Good.
Councilman McGivney, would you mind reading this one? Sure.
Town of Unionville Town Board Resolution number 41 of 2026. Resolution authorizing the purchase of a dump truck with a snowplow and salt spreader for Highway Department subject to permissive referendum. Whereas the Town of Unionville Highway Department is in need of a new dump truck with a snowplow and a salt spreader, and whereas the town supervisor, with the assistance of the New York State Office of General Services, obtained 3 state bids and one class 5 chassis with a dump body or equivalent. Whereas the town supervisor has reviewed the bids, determined that the lowest responsible bidder for a 2026 Ram 5500 dump truck with snowplow and salt spreader or equivalent is Robert Green Auto and Truck in the amount of $129,072.91. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. The recitations set forth and are incorporated in this resolution as if fully set forth and adopted herein. Town supervisor is authorized to purchase a 2026 Ram 5500 dump truck with the snowplow salt spreader for a total sum of $129,072.91, as set forth in the New York State OGS mini bid from Robert Green Auto and Truck Incorporated, a copy of which is annexed here too. 3, the town supervisor is authorized to is authorized and directed to execute any documentation necessary to register and title the new dump truck, and to effectuate this resolution. 4, the town supervisor is directed to submit a purchase order for the purchase of the new dump truck, which is to be paid from the Highway Equipment Reserve Fund established for the purpose of purchasing and maintaining highway equipment. 5, this resolution is effective subject to permissive referendum.
Okay, a second on that, please.
So moved.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Harrington.
Aye.
Councilman Rettinger.
Aye.
Supervisor Frazier.
Aye.
Councilman McGivney.
Aye.
Councilman Derland.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. That brings us to old business. The grant services agency that we've been working with, I had a joint meeting with Town of Pauling, and we are gathering more information. There was a mix-up on an appointment for a follow-up meeting, and it ended up with just the Town of Pauling supervisor being in that one. The company never sent out a confirmation on that. But I spoke with her last night, and there was some additional information that came out of that. We are going to get together on a second meeting because there's a little bit of confusion on the actual costs of that, and both of us want to nail that down before we commit to anything. One, the initial quote that was given to me said that the administration of the grants would be done at an hourly rate of $150. But they mentioned to her that there may be annual rate that if you paid $21,000, there would be no, that would be an all-inclusive type thing. Would include the administration and such. So that's something we need to clarify.
They never mentioned that to us.
Right, they did. And yeah, because I asked too, is that an unlimited amount of grant? And she couldn't answer that. So we are going to get those answers for the next meeting. Also had a discussion with the company representative from Brightly Software. That's the tracking software that I mentioned. They serve the Dutchess County Buildings and Grounds is using this exact software. And I spoke with the manager of that, and he said it has been a tremendous asset to them. Again, Councilman Derlin mentioned that it would require getting the staff here to actually input the data. I think, we do have a number of people here that are computer savvy, and there's one at Highway Department, and I know Vincent is on top of that. I think, in those departments, we could get that to work out. They offer unlimited amount of consulting, and that was something that the county said was phenomenal for them, that they were there every time there was a question. They were there and did an online tutorial on how to handle the issue. I don't know if anybody else had a chance to speak with them directly, or they also mentioned that Millbrook School District uses it. I haven't had a chance to contact anyone there. And I don't recall what the third local organization was that uses it. But I can try to gather more information on this, or if any of you have had an opportunity to talk with anybody on it.
I watched the recording that they sent out with their
Right.
demo on that. My one thought on that now, Brightly, I believe they're owned by Simons, very reputable company, wide reach. You're not going to get, screwed over by them in any way. They're a reputable company. Now I'm not an expert in putting in things for the highway department, so it's a little hard to judge from a 30,000-foot angle. But it did seem like it was a very intensive software package, and I wondered if it was maybe too intensive for what we needed it for, and if there were competitors that offered lighter versions, and I believe there are other management softwares that might not be as pricey.
Mhm.
I don't think we had a quote or anything yet, but it just might be, after getting, Ed's involvement in other department heads to review it and actually give their input, which makes more sense than mine does. It might be worth, if they think it's also, overkill because there's just too many options,
Right.
maybe exploring a lighter version, which could save cost. Again, not opposed to Brightly at all. It's a great company, but it's just worth exploring.
I can ask Brightly if they have a lighter version as well.
Did you get
Yeah.
that impression or? When you
Also-
were, yeah,
That they might have a lighter version?
no, that a lot of it was.
Oh,
there-
yeah,
way
absolutely.
more
There's
options than
more
we
features than we
probably
would need. Yes, yes. I
My
agree.
concern is just that gets put into the cost and we don't use it,
Yeah,
and so.
I mean, I used,
Yeah,
when I had my business running, I used QuickBooks to manage my business, and there's probably 100 or so features in that I don't even know about.
Never even saw
That
it.
didn't apply to but yet I
and I
used
do
it. Yeah.
suspect they probably have lighter versions.
Right, it's
They're
possible.
incentivized to present the full package
Yeah.
of the demo. So,
I
yeah,
can.
it's
answer
just food for thought.
And I can try to look into, this is not a strong field for me. I can try to look into, additional companies.
That's why
that,
direct input's
Yeah.
really important from
Um,
guys that will be using this.
something
Gross.
that would compare to it.
We also have to look down the road. We're facing a number of issues in town and have been since we've seated because things weren't looked at far enough into the future. And this technology is changing rapidly, but so are state laws that apply to us, so are federal laws that apply to us. Things that the past people sat here didn't even have to look at. And when they made their decisions, we're now looking at. We'd like to make sure that we don't get into a position where we could have taken care of something that would last us for quite a while, just to save a little bit of money and find we've purchased something that may only last 10 years. That's my take on that.
And that's one of the reasons that I'm looking into software or similar type software, that it would offer continuity as we retire out of the town board. It would leave behind hard data for the incoming members to have on hand and try to make their decisions from going forward. And same way with the administration of the departments that would be using the software as well. It changes from time to time, and the software would be a good record of what they had going on in the past and allow them to plan for the future. I think software of some type is something that we really should consider. This was one that
I fully
happened to
agree.
come my way. And, again, I don't claim to be a software expert. Maybe I can discuss this with our IT rep too as well.
Not a bad idea. I mean, being organized is the
Yeah,
best way to be successful. So if this could organize this, it'd be nice. It's just,
right.
I'm always concerned about people buying in. And
Yeah. no,
if it's really
same-
confusing,
Yeah.
it's really confusing, then
It
they're
certainly
gonna be
can be,
out before they even start.
My generation didn't have computers and smartphones and all this stuff that we have today.
Yeah.
So I haven't adapted as quickly as the younger generation coming behind us.
In looking into these other things, is one thing you have to keep in mind is if they're cloud-based, which
Right.
it is,
Yes.
it's fine for Brightly. I looked into their terms and you continue to own your data and you can back it up
Right.
whenever you want, but that's not always going to be the case. So you do just have to be careful with that, because if you're putting all of your eggs in a specific cloud, then you could end up with, years, possibly a decade of information there and not possibly maintain full ownership. Or if the company went under, having issues because it's not actually physically stored locally.
That seems to be the trend in
Yeah.
software today, that it's all cloud-based instead of
Got to make sure that they have those written into
the
the.
disk, yeah. Because I've run into that situation as well. Yeah, the technology is changing at a faster pace than I'm able to process myself.
And salespeople know that too.
Yeah.
Which makes those interactions interesting.
Okay, so I will continue to gather information. I highly recommend that you guys take a little look into this as well. I'll speak with our IT guy and see if he can help me out with this. Any comment on town issues?
I did forget the tax collector report, if I could, if.
Oh, you did get? oh,
Yes,
she
I
said-
did get one and I
Okay.
neglected to remember. It's very short.
Okay,
And then we can go ahead with the public comment. April ending 2026, she collected 91% versus April 2025, she collected 92%. The penalties collected to date for 2026 is $10,036.30 versus last year, which was $6,501.50. She sent out 96 notices last week. We are now at a 4% penalty until June 2nd. And the reason why it's after June is because of the way that the month ends on a weekend. So penalties are, penalty up until that point is still eligible to be collected by the town until June 2nd with a $2 second notice fee. We encourage e-checks. There's also the Dropbox or UPS, and we always urge hand stamping. And she wishes all the moms a happy Mother's Day. And that's all.
is that the date then that it gets turned over to county beyond that? Or is it
Yes, so
still?
once she finalizes that collection after June 2nd, any other bills that are unpaid get sent to the
Right.
county.
That's what I thought. Okay. Yeah, and then I think at that point you don't, they put it on next year's.
No, that's only the school taxes get re-levied
Okay.
on, but the county does impose additional penalty fees.
Right.
So in order to avoid those, it's best to pay the town by June 2nd.
Very good, thank you. Any public comment on town issues? Okay. Like to have a motion to move into executive session to discuss a personnel issue.
Make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll be back shortly. Don't expect this to take too long.
Make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Motion to pay our bills, please.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, our next meeting will be here, May 20th at 7:30 PM. And, I didn't mention that we did not make any decisions or spend or allocate any funds in the executive session. Our next meeting will be May 20th here at 7:30 and, motion to adjourn.
Make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Thanks everybody
You're
for coming.
welcome.